Good afternoon, everybody. A very, very warm welcome to all of you to the concluding day of Spring Fever 2016. We have here with us today Mrs. Funnybones, and she needs no introduction. Twinkle Khanna is a Bollywood actor, entrepreneur, the CEO of The White Window, and now the author of a best-selling book, Mrs. Funnybones. You know, today we wanted to keep it very casual, conversational, and interactive with our readers. So what we're going to do first is I'll ask Twinkle to talk a little bit about her experience in writing her books, and then we'll take it forward. Twinkle, would you like to say a few words?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's lovely to be here. Thank you all for coming. And I'd like to thank Penguin for doing a wonderful job with Mrs. Funnybones. We are close to selling almost 100,000 copies now. So that's a big number for a small writer like me.
Applause, please.
Yeah. So let me start by saying why is the book called Mrs. Funnybones, or rather why am I now called Mrs. Funnybones? It's the moniker that I write. I used to write my Sunday Times columns, and the fact is that people think it's about a sense of humor. It actually is about having funny bones. I really do have funny bones. I've broken every bone in my body, my legs, my hands, my collarbone. And I spend almost each year, alternate year, in a cast or limping. And I did what I tell people to do, to basically take your burdens and treat them like they are helium-filled balloons. And then they don't feel so heavy on your shoulders anymore. So I shrugged my shoulders at what I considered my burden. And I laughed at myself. So that was one part of why I was Mrs. Funnybones. And the other, of course, is because I have a tendency to crack extremely terrible, lame jokes. You know, you must have read them in my bio, like, why do all Hindu boys, are there Hindu boys here? I'm sure there are. Why do all Hindu boys worship their mothers? Because their religion tells them to worship the cow. So things like that. The other thing that people ask me often is, why does menstruation keep popping up in your columns? Now, I write 3 columns a month. So just due to biology, at some point while writing one of them, I do have my periods. And that sort of influences, or as you say, colors my writing. The other thing I think is there are anyway so many restrictions on us as women. This is an added one because of biology. And the taboo around it is something that really bothers me. And I realized as a mother that when you give sermons, nobody's really interested. But if you make someone look at how absurd something is and make them laugh, then you irrevocably change their perspective. And hopefully I'm able to do that. And that's my sort of endeavor there. The third thing that people ask me is, does your mother-in-law read your columns? And what does she have to say? So, first of all, the columns are a mix of fact and fiction. And my mother-in-law is not specifically my mother-in-law. It's the ubiquitous mother-in-law, like, you know, that you all have, who looms over our heads. And my mother-in-law, honestly, is quite chilled out. She... So when I asked her, you know, do you mind and do you care what people say? She just said, I'm really proud of you and I know my children love me and I don't care what people say. And I think my heart sort of melted into a puddle of ghee at that point. So that was that. So now, if you want, I'll read a little bit from the book. And yes, my mother-in-law does feature in that bit. And then you can throw your stuff at me. Well, hopefully they're questions you throw at me, not tomatoes. I had a few of those in my movie star days. But so shall we begin? Yes?
Yes.
So this was Karan Johar celebrates Karwa Chauth. Well, not literally, but 5 a.m. If there is a God, he hates me. I can't think of any other reason why I'm stumbling around the house at this unearthly hour normally reserved for owls, bats, and the man of the house. 5:30 a.m. My mother-in-law has sent me a big basket of fruits and sweets which I must eat before sunrise so that I can starve the entire day, thereby triggering a mystical spell known only to Indians and NRI fans of Karan Johar movies that will enable her beloved son to live a long life. I have tried to protest that the newspaper states sunrise is at 6:31 a.m. so I could technically wake up at 6:15 and gulp some food before the crucial moment the above-mentioned spell loses power, but to no avail. When I further point out that the pet tortoise in our garden is definitely going to outlive all of us and I don't see anyone fasting for him, I get a withering look from her and a sharp nudge in the ribs from the man of the house. 10 a.m. I gulp my saliva, since that is the only liquid I'm allowed to consume, and call a fellow member of the Karwa Chauth Torture Club, who goes on to tell me how lucky I am because she has to follow stricter rules than me. She is not allowed to wash her hair on Karwa Chauth. She chuckles that even if a crow shits on her head today, she will still have to walk around with it because all her mother-in-law will tell her is that it is inauspicious to wet her head today, but will not find it inauspicious to have a daughter-in-law who smells of crap. 11 a.m. I need water. 1 p.m. I need coffee. 3 p.m. I need water, coffee, and a large scotch on the rocks. 4 p.m. I know that all our Indian customs are based on scientific research by ancient minds where they spent decades examining and experimenting before they came up with specific rituals to ensure our well-being. So I do my own scientific research, which takes me a little less than 5 minutes via Google. And the results are unmistakable. The United Nations research states that men with the longest life expectancy are from Japan, followed by Switzerland. I'm rather surprised at this result, as since time immemorial, we've been doing the Karwa Chauth fast to make sure men have long lives, and the results should have definitely shown by now. I scan the list, confident that in this chart of life expectancy, the Indian man must definitely be in the top 5. Nope. There are 146 countries above us where the men have longer lifespans, and the biggest blow is that even with 4 wives who don't fast for them, the Arab men outlive our good old Indian dudes. Actually, so do the Pakistani men. I just didn't want to put it in this. It was a bit controversial. 6 p.m. We Indians are a strange race. We send mom to Mars but listen to mom-in-law and look for the moon. One of the better qualities we possess is that most of us will follow traditions and rituals as long as they do not demean or harm us or cause us to do the same to another while making our elders happy. We simply do it rather than prove a point as to how liberated and independent we truly are. Perhaps this is how we harmoniously hold our families together as we celebrate different aspects of our lives. 9 p.m. Dressed in our finery, we gather on a friend's terrace to look for the moon. As banal as I find most rituals, I'm still swept away by the moment. A dark night, 5 good friends, sparkling with our bindis, zardozi and red outfits. We're giggling and taking pictures. Suddenly, someone spots the hazy outline of the moon. And we are now dragging our men out, laughing as we borrow things from each other's plates. A strainer, a coconut barfi, a flower, laughing as we borrow things from our past.
Thank you so much, Twinkle. We'll now open it up for questions, and I will start off with one question. You're now a best-selling author. We've gone into almost a dozen reprints of your book. It's been the biggest non-fiction title for Penguin Random House last year and continues to do so, But how is Twinkle the writer? How do you write, What is your, people have, some people have their methods, like, are you a disciplined writer who writes every day? How do you do it?
So, because I do have columns to submit, I tend to write a little bit every day. And I write early in the morning. My kids leave for school by 7, so I have time to myself. And by 7 to 8:30, I write. Of course, when I have a deadline looming and I'm in the middle of the living room, I plug in headphones and I listen to white noise like sounds of washing machines and air conditioners to drown out all the children screaming and all of that. And then I write there as well, and I disappear into my own head. So yeah, in the beginning when I started writing, I had so much to say because I had 40 years of experience and things that were bursting out. And so there was a lot more, and now I feel that I have to rely a little bit on craft, and not as much on my heart. So that is the change that's happened.
You write 3 columns a month, but I've noticed that you always pick up some topical or meaningful issues. There are some. It's not only about laughter, wit. There's also a lot of serious things that you talk about through laughter, whether it's surrogacy or a lot of other issues that people go through. Is that a conscious effort? Is that or something?
I mean, it's what I think about, and like I said, I do use humor to convey a message, and hopefully that message does go through. And sometimes it could be really, facetious. It could be, last week I had a column out saying 10 gadgets that women really need. So 10 gadgets, everything from having a button on our heels, which you press and becomes flats, to having a trigger, in a sanitary napkin. Again, the menstruation problem. So people are like, why is she obsessed? Which tells us if overflow issues. My favorite out of all of those was a pen, which also serves as a dart gun. Yeah. And when men talk over us and drown our voices out or talk down to us like we're idiots, you can kind of, send a dart out and they get this allergic reaction. And then you can say, oh my God, that's like a horrible autoimmune disorder. Are you sure you're not allergic to your own bullshit? And then laugh. So yeah. So I do convey a message, but I cloak it in a joke, and I think that works for me.
Great. Well, I'll now open it to the audience. Please raise your hands if you have any questions for Mrs. Funnybones.
Why am I not interviewing?
And I'll really appreciate if you can keep the questions related to the book. Any question related to the book, writing, please go ahead.
No, thank you.
Okay, so can you give the mic back?
Hi, I'm Shavika. I just wanted to ask, before and beyond being a writer, you are a designer, right? So why don't we see or read something about designer stuff or your designer side in your columns?
Because there's nothing remotely funny about a chair or a table. I tried really hard, but it's impossible. Of course, the closest I've come is I was describing a mini bar and I said, Ab ki bar, mini bar, instead of Modi Sarkar. So yeah, but it's very difficult to write funny things about chairs. You could about exploding potties and all, but that would be really juvenile. So yeah.
Okay, thanks.
The lady at the back.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Gurpreet. And my question to you is, this funny streak that you have, where did you get it from out of the 2 parents of yours?
My mom is pretty funny. And my son actually has a great sense of humor. But I really think it was a defense mechanism.
Okay.
I was very fat. My name is Twinkle. It's so I was teased mercilessly and I had to give it back. So I did. I gave it back with my tongue as well as my fists, actually. I was quite a bully. But I think that's why I always say that we try to make our kids perfect, and it's actually all the imperfections that make you. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Hetu. First of all, I'm a big fan. A lot of times you have said that Akshay goes through your columns and articles before it goes for publishing. Does your son also goes through it before it goes out?
He does, and sometimes I get marks. I got 9.5 for the last one, so yeah.
That's
must
high.
have done
That's
well.
very high.
Yeah. I've also got 6. I don't know why, but I did get 6 once.
One more. Do you read to your daughter? I'm sure daily. So do you read your columns as well to her?
No, I don't. I make up horrible stories about some odd girl called Manda and her sister Panda, and I tell her those. But yeah, no, I don't read my columns.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, can I just like to ask a general...
Hi.
Yeah, just a general question, actually. Not. I enjoy your columns, by the way. We have so much to say. I mean, there are lots of writers now. Just a general question. You feel that, with all the creative I don't know, urge many of us have. We in India run the risk of having more writers than readers.
We could, but I don't know whether I consider myself a writer. I consider myself a reader, and I've been a reader since I was a little girl. So some of us read and write. There are some people who write now who don't read at all, and I don't really understand how that works. I think it's a door open. I think that social media has given a lot of people ways to express themselves, and maybe that's healthy. Maybe the things that they kept bottled up inside, they can now state, sometimes in an anonymous way, which probably helps them. So I don't really see it as a problem.
Yeah, hi, I'm Suruchi here. You can't see me?
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to know that what prompted you to start writing? What instigated that point when you said, now I'm going to start writing?
I had written half a book when I was younger, and I have a file of terrible poems, all about death and maggots and things like that. But I didn't write anything for 20 years, except to-do lists and, grocery things and copying recipes that I can't really do because I can't cook. But I got an opportunity to write a column. I would have written something, but I had a plan. I'll be 60, I'll move to Goa, I'll have white hair. We women have an absolute plan down to our outfits. I'll wear a white kurta and I'll have short nails. It was down to that. But I got an opportunity, and honestly, when I did, the first thing that people around me said, that what if people laugh at you? What if they make fun of you? What if you can't do it? And what if you can't? So I'd already achieved a position in life where I had something to lose. But I think that taking a leap and really not caring what people think helped me, because I'm here today only because of that.
But was it any circumstance which just pushed you into it?
No, I probably had all of this to say for a long time, and I wanted to wait till my kids were older, but it was fate that gave me a chance 20 years before I planned. So that was it. Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
That side.
Yeah.
Hi, Twinkle. Ekta here. Do you see yourself as a movie script writer somewhere down the line?
I have something in mind, and I actually I don't know whether I can write a script, but I can write a story, and maybe, somebody can make it a script. Why, my ambition to become Chetan Bhagat is burning inside, yeah.
Hi, Twinkle. Yeah. Hello, my name is Bhanu, and I love reading your columns. The first thing that, when I saw you walking down the stairs here, I was like, why is she ever concerned about her weight? She's looking fabulous now, both you and your sister. I mean, you've got like appreciation for your weight, and I'm looking at both of you and thinking, well, they look fabulous, they should not be worried. Secondly, whenever, I don't know how many people can say this, but whenever we read your columns, it's almost like you talking to us. So they're wonderfully written, and thank you for writing those columns.
Thank you.
And the third, my question, short and sweet, is that you were an actress before and now you are a writer. So people around you, have the reactions changed or their outlook towards you? Has that changed? Thank you.
Yeah, I think I would say that, and it's actually unfortunate because I feel that people in the movie business do not get as much respect. Because honestly, a layperson thinks it's really easy what they do, that they get paid to just go there and clown around. So yeah, as a writer, I suddenly have, a lot of respect that's given to me. But I feel that entertainers should also be equally respected because it is a difficult job. It does look very easy, but I find it extremely difficult. I just came back. I was doing an ad with my husband after a really long time. I was in front of the moving camera, and it's scary. I find that scary. Sitting in my room and writing for me is liberating, and being out there is difficult. So I think people who do achieve something in that field should also get that respect because it is a difficult job.
Hi, ma'am. I am Vedasmita and I am from JNU. My question is,
what is your understanding of feminism, and how do you see it in terms of Bollywood perspective?
To me, feminism, and so I'll be very upfront. I am a feminist. I believe because feminism is basically saying that we need equal opportunities. We need equal social, cultural, educational, and employment opportunities. Aside from that, I think that why I do not have that as a tag is because there are many other tags that I have. I'm an environmentalist, or I'm also a capitalist. So there are lots of tags. But I don't know whether feminism in Bollywood or feminism is specific to any field. It is something that is universal. It is something we have to work towards. It's something we have to teach our daughters, and we have to teach our sons. Because it's what we impart to our sons, that is what they're going to teach, and that's how they're going to behave with the next generation of girls. So if we want the next lot of little girls who are now in pigtails to have a better life than we had, we have to teach our sons.
Hi, good morning. So my question is that in your book you have referred the son as prodigal. So how much true is that in your own real family, and what kind of mummy ji you are planning to become when you will get married?
Tough question.
So I actually think I'm going to be a terrible mother-in-law, because any girl that he even vaguely likes, I find some fault in her, And and my husband has actually given me advice that you can't be so mean, and why don't you compliment her? I'm like, she's 7. What compliment can I give her? He's like, tell her ponytails look nice. I mean, so I don't think I'll be a very good mother-in-law, but I'm going to try hard. He's not really the prodigal son. It's just a way of putting things across. And like, my husband is not man of the house. It's sort of, ironical. But it's just, I don't know, I found that if I would use their names, then it would be just identified with them. And this way, it's got a wider reach.
I am Vivek Atre. I'm over here. Over here. I'm an author and columnist as well. I must compliment you on writing humor. It's very difficult to write humor. I write a bit as well. I must ask you about being accident prone. I have a friend who's so accident prone that when he watches the television, we tell him, don't watch the TV, the ball will come out and hit you. What is your silliest accident ever? How did you get hurt in a very zany, funny manner? It happens all the time.
So when I was working in the movies, this really big superstar came to meet me. I hadn't worked with him yet, and he was like, hello, how are you? And okay, I'll escort you to the set. And I said, lovely. And I was wearing this lovely white dress. And as we were walking down the steps, I slipped, and I fell on my butt on every step. I bounced all the way down. And he just looked at me and said, do you do this often? And I said, well, no, it was a special occasion. So yeah, I've fallen everywhere. I've broken every bone. I fell off my window, bounced on a cycle, and broke my collarbone. So I have ridiculous accidents.
Hello.
Who was the superstar?
Hello, I am Dr. Garg. Previously, I was in Bombay Hospital also. I request one thing to you, that you must write something about stress. Because you are very good in writing about stress. Once you told that at this stage of life, person must be in the capacity to lose, to bear the losses also. So you must write about stress at least.
Thank you.
Like Rinki Khanna's dances are working for me in the stress conditions and other conditions. So you must write something. You must write something about stress, how to reduce the stress, and health, and all these problems.
Well, I think laughing would help, but yeah, I will.
Because you are very good at it.
I think she already is. You know what?
Twinkle?
Columns are stress busters.
अक्षय कुमार की जो फिल्में आ रही हैं उसके ऊपर किताब क्यों नहीं लिख रहे?
Where are you? I can't see you.
Can you please introduce yourself first and then ask question?
अक्षय कुमार की जो फिल्में आ रही है उसके ऊपर भी किताबें बहुत बढ़िया लिखी जा सकती है. जो ऐसी स्टोरी ले आ रहे हैं जो आज तक उसकी पब्लिसिटी बहुत जबरदस्त हो रही है, उसके ऊपर किताबें क्यों नहीं लिखी जा रही? अक्षय कुमार की जो फिल्में आ रही है उसके ऊपर किताबें भी लिखी जा रही है कि नहीं?
उनके बारे में किताब, उनकी फिल्मों के बारे में किताबें.
नहीं, उसकी स्टोरी जो फिल्मों की आजकल आ रही है बहुत बढ़िया.
मैं आपको लगता है कि दुनिया की हर किताब मैं ही लिखूं? किसी और कोई और तो लिख सकता है ना.
ओके.
Hi, Twinkle. This side. I'm Salona. You mentioned earlier that you've been an avid reader since you were little. So just wanted to know some of your favorite books and authors, and do you think they've influenced your writing style?
So I was very young when I started reading science fiction. My uncle was a big reader, and he would give me all these hand-me-downs. So Asimov and Philip K. Dick. So, you know, my reading is a little old-fashioned, I guess. I read Scott Fitzgerald. I read P.G. Wodehouse, and I think that shows in my writing that I read a lot of that. So now I've started trying to read slightly different things aside from science fiction. Though, to be honest, I read a short science fiction story, a short story every night. A couple of them, I can't sleep. So Ken Lewis is another author that I admire. And I think that someone who wants to write has to be a reader, because why would you give up the advantage of having hundreds of wise voices in your head? And I have that rattling around for years. So yes, I think it's one of my greatest strengths.
Thank you.
Hi, Twinkle, Ruchi this side. Hi. So I see that with every chapter there's a very interesting illustration in that. So does the idea comes from you, or who's the person behind those illustrations?
No, I kind of specified what I wanted in that, and then the illustrator did a fabulous job, and I think Apu did it, but somebody else drew it.
Yeah, we got it illustrated,
but we did work on that.
But Twinkle did come up with the concepts, and we discussed what
we
wanted.
what figures we wanted and everything, and yeah.
So the next book is also in your future plans. Like, when can we expect the next?
Well, I'm writing. It's going to take a while. It's definitely not Mrs. Funnybones Part 2, because that would be the easiest thing for me to do. And since I like to tumble and stumble and fall, I'll set myself up for a bigger challenge. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pratibha. I wanted to ask that since the subject matter is so personal and it also describes your family and, mundane matters, do you sometimes feel restricted in the way that you don't want to hurt any feelings? Like, especially your family members, if they read it, you might want to avoid writing about some issues or some really funny incidents just because you don't want to sort of put them on the spot when they read it. Do you feel restricted in any way?
Yes, I do. And there are lots of things that I don't write. And you also have to understand that a lot of it is fiction. So a lot of it is made up. But I also have to see that, I'm not hurting anybody's feelings, which is nice, because while writing you have the time to revise and hone that, whereas when you're talking I have a tendency to blurt out things and end up making a lot of enemies like that. So yeah, I prefer writing to talking. Yeah.
Do we have any more questions? This is your chance.
Hello. Hi, ma'am. My name's Vismay. I'm about 24 now. How do you manage to look younger than me? And most of us?
I have to keep up with the fittest man on the planet. That's my only motivation. Thank you.
आपको योग द्वारा महादेव के दर्शन हो सकते हैं? योग के द्वारा महादेव के, महादेव शिव.
हाँ, क्वेश्चन क्या है आपका? फिर से क्या
अभी आपने शिव के दर्शन किए कि नहीं, ये पूछ रहा हूँ.
शिव जी के दर्शन किए हैं कि नहीं? आपने किए? Thank you. All right. So with that, we come to the end of the session. We have one. Okay. All right. Please pass on the mic.
Hi, my name is Ambika, and I wanted to ask you about that. Mostly when you write, it's about being a mother who is also working. But there would have been a time when you would have been just a single and working, and now you've gone into a married state and you have a daughter. And so you know that she will also go through all these stages. So how do you instill all those things the issues and all that you must have faced while you were single and not yet married and working. And you know that your daughter will also go through some of those things and your mother would have helped it. So, like, do you suggest any kind of readings? Because I would like to ask in such a way that somehow we find a solace in some of the writings that we read. Some of our writers, and we understand, and that's how we look at the things and try to understand. So what kind of things that you try to do, you will be trying further in your columns, so that if you have some mothers who are also struggling with the ways on how to raise their daughter so they can grow up to be someone, a more powerful one with a, like, I would like my daughter to be a feminist too, but some of them might not love their daughter to be. So how do you see that you would try to do these things in your columns so that you could help with the other mothers also, or you would just try simply and teach your daughter that, okay, go through these books if you're facing any problems, or you just come directly to me?
So to answer your question, I would say that the biggest drawback to feminism is fairy tales. These stories about princesses and witches. And so I tell my daughter that actually all witches started off as princesses. They got tired of waiting for their knight in armor. They got tired of him being stuck on his high horse and decided to take matters in their own hands, and then they became witches. So I think this whole thing of fairy tales is actually, sort of thing that we shouldn't have. We should have different fairy tales now, and we should have fairy tales where women and girls are capable of doing everything themselves. A princess is capable of picking up a sword and cutting her opponent to pieces, and she doesn't have to wait for someone else. And I think that is something, as a start for children at least.
Thank you, everybody, for being such a... We have an... Oh. All right, I think...
Yeah, it's working now.
This will be the last question.
Hi, ma'am. My name is Soham. And I have a question. Like, it might sound a bit out of context, but I really wanted to ask this question. Like, I'm a big fan of Akshay sir, a hardcore fan. And I appreciate him more as a person than an actor. So, like, the thing I really wanted to ask is, like, there's a common saying that the universe often tends to give you what you become rather than what you want. So I want to ask you, like when you were younger, like when you guys just met, like you and Akshay sir just met, what were the things that in him, what were the good qualities in him that attracted him, like that you felt like attractive in him? What were the good qualities in him that you felt attracted to?
I'm a mad scientist, so I actually made a genetic chart of what diseases run in his family. Because if I have to have children with him, I'm going to be, I need his genes. So yeah, he had very good genes.
Thank you. All right. There's one more? Okay.
Hi Twinkle, I'm Vaibhav and I have a question for you. Like, I wanted to ask, sometimes the humor comes naturally when you are writing and sometimes it's not. So sometimes we want to make a point but it's not humorous. So how do you induce humor when it's like not funny, but the thing which you want to convey is something like you cannot induce humor in it. So how do you like purposely do induce humor?
Are you asking for yourself?
Yes.
Go to a party, have 3 drinks. You'll think you're really funny. Okay, I think.
Hi, Twinkle. You're truly an inspiration. I want to ask that when you're writing and you feel blocked, when the ideas stop coming, what do you do then?
I have deadlines, and deadlines are wrecking balls to, all sorts of blocks. So I don't have the luxury of having a writer's block. If I get stuck, I go for a walk. I think about things, and it sort of opens out. And I leave it at that time, and I try again. That's it. And I think we should do that with most things in life. Leave it when it's not working, and then go back to it.
All right. Thank you so much, Twinkle, for answering all the questions, and thank you, all of you, for being such a lovely audience.